Good day, and welcome to the SS&C Learning Institute webinar. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Michael Morris. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Lori. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Morris, and I'm Senior Account Executive for our SS&C Learning Institute. We appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule today to join us in order to learn about the Certified Portfolio Manager's designation. Joining me today is Mike Ross, President of the Academy of Certified Portfolio Managers. Mike is also Executive Director at Morgan Stanley in their Wealth Management Group. The ACPM has partnered with our Learning Institute for 9 years, where their constituents go through a two-phase curriculum to earn the CPM designation. Mike and I will provide a brief overview, so without further ado, let me pass the baton over to Mike and we'll get things started.
Good morning, good afternoon. As Michael said, my name is Mike Ross. I first kind of want to give a bit of a background to why the Certified Portfolio Manager designation exists. What we discovered about a decade ago was that while we will be the first to say that the gold standard designation in the industry begins with a C and ends with an A, what we recognized that many people cannot make it through a three-level academic program that has an 80% attrition rate. 20% of the people actually get the designation, especially if they're in the middle of their career, especially if they have a business to run, they have a personal life. It just becomes very trying. So we partnered with two different groups, both SS&C Learning Institute as well as Columbia University, and we came up with an approach where we narrowed the focus, we narrowed the scope of the credential to include three basic areas: asset valuation, stocks, bonds, and derivatives; portfolio construction and risk management; and asset allocation, really from a portfolio manager's perspective. So that curriculum is first in a 55-module online program that is provided by SS&C Learning Institute. Each module is tested to 80%. You have to finish all 54 modules to an 80% success rate to then earn the right to go attend a 5-day workshop at Columbia University. And that becomes basically the final level. That's where we really study both advanced techniques in these areas as well as interact with a world-class faculty. So we put the program together to allow mid-career professionals to be able to have a designation, and frankly, it encompasses both the online phase and the one-on-one workshop phase. And there's a variety of different ways to get through and get the 55 online modules done. So, Michael, do you want to kind of go through how SS&C has created and kind of offering the online modules to candidates?
Yes, sure. So let me talk you through what that online curriculum looks like today. So there's 55 courses, as we've been discussing, and we've broken them up into 8 different topic areas. 4 are on this screen, and 4 will be on the next screen. And so these are the topic areas, for example, ethics, quantitative methods, financial statement analysis, corporate finance. And below that are the individual zoologic courses and the recommended sequence in which to follow them. So this is the second batch of topic areas: foreign exchange, fixed income, equity, and derivatives. And again, these are organized in a way, in a curriculum that's structured for the participant to follow in a recommended sequence. Mike, why don't you talk about what's going on over at Columbia and the folks that we've worked with over the years?
Sure. So remember that this is a survey course. We have a wide array of different attendees coming from asset management, coming from the buy side, as well as practitioners that manage portfolios and both for institutions and for wealth management. So what we sought to do was have a survey of different academics at multiple schools at Columbia, both industrial engineering and operations research, because of their deep bench of different very quantitatively focused professors, because there's quantitative aspects to this. You saw the curriculum. It's quantitative in nature. In addition, we use, and we have always partnered with the business school, Columbia Business School, both really for global macro types of instruction, as well as getting into different types of fundamental analysis. We've had meaningful contribution over the years from the Graham and Dodd Center at Columbia. So we wanted to make sure we had a very academic flavor to the curriculum at Columbia. But in addition, some of the feedback we got early on was we wanted practical application. We wanted to have practitioners. So we have adjunct professors that are practitioners in a variety of different ways in the city of New York, as well as we have practitioners such as myself and other board members that also teach different coursework at Columbia. So we're taking advantage of 20 and 30 years of industry experience with us. Every year we have a little bit of difference in terms of both the curriculum and the professors, but the intent is to have both the academicians as well as having the practitioners. And if you want to go to the next slide, I'm happy to. So again, the other dimension we needed here is the Academy of Certified Portfolio Managers created and oversees the curriculum. And rather than having simply a bunch of academics or a bunch of corporate executives dictate those types of things, we wanted practitioners. So you'll see this was originally a program internal to Morgan Stanley. So we still have several Morgan Stanley professionals on the board, but we also have those from other firms. And there's a 3-year term on the board, so as the years go by, we continue to have additional board members and an increasing variety of different board members. But the key on this is virtually everybody is a practitioner. So as the practice management functionality changes, and as changes come into the industry, whether it's Sarbanes-Oxley or Dodd-Frank or the DOL fiduciary rule, we are sensitive to the changes that are made, and therefore we can kind of adapt the curriculum as the industries evolve. So the other thing that folks will ask us is, what's the point? Why do people go through this program? And the first thing I'll mention is most of us go through the academics around these topics in either undergrad or in grad school. We get involved in our careers. We move along. We have to do things to continue to develop our careers. But 10 years, 15 years later, this is a great opportunity to refresh the fundamentals of your skill set. And really, you're looking through it at that point with a different set of eyes. You're finding things that you didn't necessarily find when you were in school because you're actively involved. So for one reason, it has to do with being able to do a refresh on your academic foundation. The other thing is, quite frankly, what we've discovered from people who have graduated from the program, maybe not initially because they're kind of set in some particular approach to doing their business, but maybe 2 years later they'll come back to us and say, this really broadened my view of the industry and broadened my view of approaches to take at my craft, and I was able to really see my career grow because I'm able to do different kinds of things. So you have that confidence and that willingness to go into different areas of your profession during that kind of because of that. And here's a few comments from different people that have provided some comments like that. And the third thing is, it's never a bad issue to be able to demonstrate to clients and to supervisors via the certificates we provide that you've actually done these kinds of things. So A, for personal growth, B, to kind of broaden your spectrum of options, and C, just being able to interact with other members, both of the faculty and of the class. Those are the kinds of things that I think come up in these conversations, Michael.
Great, thanks, Mike. Let me take it over here from what the pricing perspective looks like and what the options are. As we said, there's a two-phased approach, and phase one consists of the 55 online courses, and as Mike said, the participants are required to score an 80% or higher on a final test. Each of those tests consists of 10 questions, and then upon successful completion of doing the online program, participants earn the right to attend 1 week intensive classroom instruction at Columbia University. So we have three options. One is an early payment discount where the participant would pay up front upon registration, and that's $7,900. Option B is in 2 installments. It's 2 payments. The first at $4,100 upon registration, and then another $4,100 paid before the start of phase 2 at Columbia University. And option C is sort of a pay-as-you-go, where a participant could pay $500 for the online portion, and they have 1 year to complete the online courses. And then if they choose to go to Columbia, then they would be required to pay $8,000 no later than 3 weeks prior to the beginning of phase 2. And then there's also the ability for ongoing continuing professional education credits once the participant successfully completes the program. At this point, we're happy to take some questions, and it looks like we've had a few questions come in, so let me get that organized. One of the questions is, generally, how long does it take to finish the online program? Mike, do you want to take that, please?
Yes. So we've been doing this online program for 8 years, so we have a fairly good body of information. What we've discovered is that on average, there again, depending on how long it's been since you've taken a math course or since you've done things, on average is about 150 hours. We have had people complete it in 30 days. Typically there's a deadline prior to the class, and people start to really amp up their efforts a couple, 3 months prior. So we've had people do it in 30 days. But by and large, it ends up being 3 to 6 months, and it's like weekend and evening kinds of things.
Thanks, Mike. Another question. Can you please tell what the 3 focus areas of the CPM are again? I know you had mentioned that early on, and I think the participant didn't hear that clearly.
Not a problem. So it is asset valuation, and let's be specific about that. It's equities, it's fixed income, and it is derivatives. We come from one of the best derivative shops in the country, Columbia IOR, and so there are really key people there going through the derivatives, but it's clearly also asset valuation on the fixed income and the equity side too.
Great.
Next, I'm sorry, I got all hung up on how I was describing that. So the next one would be portfolio construction and risk management. If you go back to our beginning, you recognize we started in 2009, and the 2008-2009 area was fresh in everyone's mind, so we spent a lot of time talking about portfolio management and risk concepts. Finally, it is asset allocation, and I might add a little color. It's asset allocation from a portfolio manager's perspective. This isn't about taking someone else's and just applying it. This is about going through the process of creating an asset allocation. So it's those 3 things. I'm sorry to go off on one of them that much, Michael.
No, that's great. Another question, when is the Columbia class?
So we typically have it either in June or November, because that aligns with time that is free at Columbia, which is there's fairly scarce availability there. My sense is that this year we will have it in November. there is certainly always a possibility that if we get a full group of people, we'd like to have at least 60 people there, and if we get a full group of people and it's earlier, we will address that. But most likely this year's class will be the first week in November.
Okay, thanks. Another question. What if I don't finish in time for the class? What do I do then?
So as I said, we want to wait till we have 60 people in a class. There are folks where life gets in the way and you just don't have the time. We will keep you in the queue, and then then the next time we have 60 people available, be that in June, November, or another time, spring break for that matter. I think Columbia's on spring break this week, where there's space available on class and we can get the professors who we want there. We'll do it a different time too. We have typical times we do the class, but we also, with Columbia, have the availability to do it at a different time if we have 60 people and the demand is there.
Okay, great. And that probably addresses this next question. If someone wanted to take a smaller number of modules over a longer period of time?
Well, and what we've discovered, and I think you can speak to this too, Michael, is what we've discovered is that subsets of our 55 modules become very appealing educational programs for different asset management and wealth management and investment analyst groups. So what we have seen is that some firms have said, look, in order to stay in our discretionary portfolio management program, we require these guys to put in 20 hours a year. And what we will do to address that is we'll do 20 or 25 hours, maybe 50 hours, and we'll do that over 2 or 3 years. And then when they've finished all that, when they've done it over that series of time frames, then they qualify for the class. So there's a lot of different ways we can break this up to make it appealing to different organizations. So I'd encourage, if you're in an organization that's looking for those kinds of things, to check with Michael and his team, and perhaps that we can custom make something for you.
That's absolutely true. That's great. Thanks, Mike. That is the last of the questions that people have written in here today. So at this point, I want to thank everybody for their time this afternoon, and we look forward. If you have any questions or you'd like to register, you see the link on the page right now on the screen. Please do. And again, thank you for your time this afternoon.
That will conclude today's conference. Thank you for your participation.